Go ahead. All right, everyone, I'd like to call this meeting to order. It is the 21st of July. This is the Finance Administration Committee and a special meeting of the Board of Directors of the West Basin Municipal Water District. If we could please determine a quorum.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Director Tommy Favai. Here. Chairman Scott Houston.
Here.
Director Desi Alvarez. Director Don Deere. Here. And Director Gloria Gray.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Very good. Thank you. Let's see. Public comment. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak?
We have not received any requests for public comment prior to this meeting, though this meeting is being held both in person and virtually. If there's any member of the public that would like to speak, please indicate so by raising your virtual hand. And Mr. Chairman, I do not see any requests for public comment.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, item 4, presentations. We have no presentations. Item 5 is the action calendar. 5A, approval of minutes. EJ, if you could please introduce that item.
Yes, for this presentation, we do have Desiree Quintero, our Manager of Administration and Board Secretary, and this item begins on packet page 4.
Thank you, EJ. Good afternoon, members of the committee and board. The minutes for the West Basin Municipal Water District Board of Directors meetings are an integral part of the public meeting process. Minutes provide a history of the actions taken at board meetings, which is informative not only for members of the public, but for other stakeholders as well. Minutes for the June 4th, 2026 special board meeting and the June 22nd, 2026 regular board meeting have been attached for consideration and can be found on packet page 6 and 8 respectively. With that, I would like to read the recommendation that the board approve the June 4th, 2026 special board meeting and June 22nd, 2026 regular board meeting minutes. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. So with that, are there any questions? Director Clyde?
No questions.
Director Deere?
No questions.
Director Gray?
No question.
Thank you. I have no questions. They look in order to me. So with that, I'd recommend say yes to the full board. Says Ray.
Yes.
Favai, Kurt. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
5D, as in boy, approved sponsorship. Fiscal year 2026-27 community outreach events. It looks like we have 3 items on here. So EJ, please.
Yes, that's correct. We do have 3 items for your consideration today. For the presentation, we have Hazel Vasquez, our Board Secretary 2, and this item begins on packet page 14.
Thank you, EJ. Good afternoon, Chairman Houston and members of the committee and board. As EJ mentioned, this item begins on packet page 14. And before I get into those 3 requests that we have, I just wanted to point out a little information here. So as you all are aware, we are having elections later this year in November. 3 divisions that will be up for election are Division 1, 2, and 4. And per the sponsorship policy, we do have to observe a blackout period during that time when it comes to these sponsorships. So during the time beginning August 7th, which is the candidate filing date, through the date on which the election is certified, at this time we are expecting that to be the first Friday of December. So this blackout period will carry us until then. We are unable to sponsor any events within those 3 divisions. The 3 requests that I will be presenting today all fall outside of that blackout, election blackout, either due to the date being outside of that blackout period or the event being held outside of those 3 divisions that are up for election. So with that, I'll go into the 3 requests. The first that we have for you here is for the El Camino College Foundation, who work closely with business partners to provide students with relevant and innovative education. They have an annual community partners program that they have requested sponsorship for. At this time, President Deere recommends.
Okay.
At this time, President Deere recommends sponsoring the Community Partners Program beginning Saturday, August 1st, 2026 through Wednesday, June 30th, 2027 for $2,500. If approved, this sponsorship would grant West Basin their 2027 Spring Job Fair. Unfortunately, we don't have an exact date for that just yet, but traditionally it's been held either in March or April of the year. So we are expecting the same will happen in 2027. At that job fair, like I mentioned, we will have a booth. And then throughout the year, as part of the Community Partners Program, we will also have various opportunities for logo placement on newsletters and things of that sort. West Basin has sponsored this program in previous years. Most recently, we did so in 2025 for the same amount of $2,500. And that provided us, as mentioned, a booth at their spring job fair where staff engaged with approximately 215 attendees. Now, the West Basin sponsorship policy requires that all sponsorship requests be considered for approval by the board at least 10 days before the event. With the sponsorship beginning on Saturday, August 1st, the board would have to also consider waiving the 10 business day requirement should this move on to the board meeting on Monday. Documents submitted for this request are included in attachment A, and you can find those beginning on packet page 17. The next item for your consideration is for the Culver City Police Department. They are hosting their annual National Night Out event on Tuesday, August 4th, 2026. At this time, Director Houston is recommending sponsorship of this event for $1,500. And if approved, that would grant West Basin a booth at the event, as well as a speaking opportunity and an advertisement in the form of logo placement on various event materials. And I did want to note that although we have not sponsored this event in previous years, West Basin has participated year over year in their National Night Out event with a free booth. The only difference this year would be the financial contribution, as mentioned, that would grant us those additional benefits. The West Basin sponsorship, similar to the one before, does require that 10 business day approval. So this event would also, if you would like to move it forward to the board, would require that the 10 business day requirement be waived. The documents submitted for this request are included in attachment B, and you can find those beginning on packet page 21. And the last event for your consideration today is for the Hawthorne Chamber of Commerce's annual golf tournament that is being held on Monday, September 28, 2026. President Deere recommends sponsoring the 12th annual golf tournament for $3,000. And if approved, that sponsorship would grant West Basin an information table at the event, as well as logo placement on various event materials. We last sponsored this event in 2025 for the same amount of $3,000 and received similar benefits. The documents that have been submitted for this year's request are included in attachment C, and you can find those beginning on packet page 24. As always, just keeping you abreast of the budget for this program. Sponsorship funds are included in the fiscal year 26-27 community outreach budget in a total amount of $75,000. There is a current available balance of $68,250 as shown in attachment D beginning on packet page 28. Approving the request before you today at the amounts recommended, which together total $7,000, would leave a remaining balance of $61,250. And with that, I will read the recommendation. Number one, and I will correct this, it says Director Deere, but we'll correct that for the board meeting to read President Deere recommends that the board waive the 10 business day requirement and approve sponsorship of the El Camino College Foundation 26-27 Community Partners Program from Saturday, August 1st, 2026 through Wednesday, June 30th, 2027 for $2,500. Number two, Director Houston recommends that the board waive the 10 business day requirement and approve sponsorship of the Culver City Police Department's 2026 National Night Out event on Tuesday, August 4th, 2026 for $1,500. And number three, President Deere recommends that the board approve sponsorship of the Hawthorne Chamber of Commerce's 12th annual golf tournament on Monday, September 28th, 2026 for $3,000. With that, I am happy to answer any questions.
Very good, thank you. Let's see, I'll open it up to any questions on these items for consideration. So Director Flack.
No questions.
Okay, Director Deere,
No questions, thank
Director Gray.
Director Gray, you've been muted. In order to unmute yourself, you just need to hit *6.
Question.
There you are. Great, okay, thank you. And again, I have no questions either. I
No
think these are all. Thank you, Director Gray. No questions. I think these are all great events we've sponsored before ways. So with that, I would recommend a yes from this committee to the full board. And Director Fahey.
I concur.
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much for that. Next will be 5C as in cat. Consider fiscal year 2026-27 district sponsorship request. EJ, if you'd please introduce that item for us.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this item will be presented by Carl Hewitt, our executive assistant, and the item begins on packet page 29.
Thank you, EJ. Good afternoon, Chair Houston, members of the committee and board. As EJ mentioned, this item begins on page 29 of your agenda packet. And I'm going to start this presentation with a brief overview of the intention behind the district sponsorship program. And that would be to build and strengthen relationships that support the advancement of the district mission and goals, to exchange information with industry stakeholders and members of the public about the district's priorities and its operation, and to promote water conservation, water education, and district programs. And that said, this is a request to sponsor the 14th annual Torrance Memorial Medical Center Breast Reconstruction Awareness 5K 10K Run, also known as Bra Run LA, to be held Sunday, August 30th at Dockweiler Beach in Playa del Rey in the city of Los Angeles. The Bra Run LA is organized by a nonprofit organization, Emmy's Breast Friends Forever, and produced with the assistance of Mercury Events, a private entity. Emily's Breast Friends Forever is a small nonprofit that has been working for over 10 years to bring community emotional support and financial support to individuals battling breast cancer, and helping to close the gap with access to breast reconstruction surgery and other healthcare treatments to navigate this illness. They are the main beneficiary of this event, and sponsorship opportunities available are listed on page 33 of your agenda packet. We have tiers A to D, beginning at $1,450, going up to $2,450, $4,750, and $7,500. And there's also an alternative for a booth for $350. The booth is also included with every other sponsorship level that you will consider. West Basin has not previously sponsored this event specifically, but has previously sponsored similar events through its community outreach sponsorship program as recently as last fiscal year. Mercury Events has also partnered with other nonprofit organizations to produce sport fundraisers, ultimately sponsored by public agencies, like, for example, the Wrigley River Run in Long Beach that was sponsored by another public agency as well. Proposal details are available in the partner packet included in attachment B of your agenda. And moving on to benefits for West Basin, very much what was mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, with connection with other members of the public and organizations to promote district's mission and goals. As of fiscal impact, funds for the proposed sponsorship are included in the fiscal year 2026-2027 sponsorship budget in the amount of $55,000, with the current balance being $46,000 shown in attachment C. This would be page 38 of your agenda packet. And finally, I'm gonna read the recommendation. That is that the board consider approving sponsorship of the 14th Annual Torrance Memorial Medical Center Breast Reconstruction Awareness Run to be held on August 30th, 2026 at Dockweiler Beach in Playa del Rey in the city of Los Angeles. And with that, I welcome any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you very, very much. Let's see, I will just open it up. Any questions or comments? So the Director Tobias, go ahead.
Yeah, I just have a question. EJ, which district is this sponsorship being requested from?
So my understanding is that the event itself is not actually in the West Basin service area. Is that correct?
Correct. Dockweiler Beach is technically city of LA, that would be outside of our service area.
And have we sponsored, like other events that were outside of West Basin territory?
We have on occasion, depending on the specific event. This event I'm not familiar with, but we have definitely sponsored events that are not in the West Basin service area.
Any other questions? Let's see, Director Deere, questions?
No questions.
Director Gray, questions?
No questions. Thank you.
Let's see, on this one, and I understand it does somehow benefit Torrance Memorial Hospital.
No. So the race
Yeah.
is named Torrance Memorial because Torrance Memorial is one of the major sponsors. And this is actually, and if you guys will humor me here, the organizer of the race is a nonprofit organization that was started by a nurse from Torrance Memorial whose life was impacted by breast cancer. So she went ahead and started this nonprofit, and because she had this connection with Torrance Memorial already, was able to bring them aboard to support this event. And as it grew, then it also their support for the event grew, and that's how they got the naming rights, so to speak, for the event. But the proceeds benefit Emily's Breast Friends Forever, specifically for the purposes of providing breast surgery reconstruction for patients who may or may not be linked to Torrance Memorial specifically, but they all share the same either uninsured or underinsured status in order to qualify for their programs.
Okay. Well, here's my two thoughts. One is I would be open to sponsoring a booth for the lowest amount. I would be open to it, but I also want to hear my colleagues on this. I'm assuming these people are coming from all around the region, not just South Bay, maybe from my side. We don't know where these people are coming from. They're getting benefited by this group.
I took a peek at the nonprofit side. If my memory serves me well, I have seen testimonials from cities like Redondo Beach and Gardena, and I was able to tie some of the past beneficiaries of the nonprofits program to places within our service area, but I am not aware of the requirements for qualification and if those may not impose a restriction as of where those patients come from. But I saw both, like from within and without.
Okay, so with that, I'll just ask what you all think. Is this something we want to move to the board to talk about, or we just pass on this? What do you guys think? Director from that.
Thank you, Director Houston. No, I'm all for the sponsorship, and starting at the lowest sponsorship. I just wanted to just get a better understanding of of the nonprofits that we work with, and that they when they make the request, and I know it has some ties to Torrance Memorial of the nonprofit, but I'm fine on doing the smaller sponsorship moving forward. But I think for future requests, if we can get like a breakdown of when you get these requests of who they work with, and then like the background of what the nonprofits are.
Okay.
So we could kind of have a better understanding of how does it impact the local district in our area, and because I'm all about helping out with nonprofits, but just as long as done correctly.
Of course.
Okay.
We'll make sure that we bring that.
Thank you. Director Deere
I agree with the Director Fawai.
and Director Gray, you're there. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and just chime in too. So, I would support the booth for $350. And again, I'm assuming folks who will be at this event are probably coming from all around greater LA. region.
For individuals that register for the race specifically, correct? Yes, we have no control over
Right.
registration fees.
Yes, but also their friends, their family, their supporters. I mean, whatever's happening at the beach that morning or day.
Yes.
Yeah, which that's the benefit of having a booth there. It's outreach for us. Some of those folks probably live within our service area,
I would assume.
more than likely. But with that, I think this one, because it's different, you know, we should have more information just from that nonprofit as to who exactly is showing up, who are you serving, you know what I mean? They would give us better information. But all that being said, I'm willing to go for the $350 booth, move it forward to the board with a recommendation. I think Director Favai confers.
I concur.
Thank you. And would this just go on to the consent calendar?
Correct. It would go on consent. What we could do is email the board any additional information that we get from the nonprofit. I think we've done some decent research so far, but we can get that out to the full board, and then it will be placed on consent if both of the committee members approve.
So yeah, so we approved.
Okay.
And obviously we should just have that info in case there's questions. And I think we don't get too many of these ones that come through that are unique or different. Most of the ones that come to us are repeats, but I guess in the future, it's a good idea that we have better background, you know, as to what it is. So just so we have good understanding, especially since we know the money's limited and some of these I know are not quote unquote water related. I know we have that argument up here sometimes, but on the other hand, they're community related and people from our district show up. And so, for example, the run we do for Armed Services Day in Torrance, we've had a booth there a couple times. And that's got a lot of folks who live within the service area. So while that might not be water related, I think it's still valid from our agencies to consider as we have. So anyway, just my comments. But that being said, let's move that forward. Yes, for $350 to the board. Thank you for all that. All right. Next is item 5D as in dog, amendments to Administrative Code Part 5, Chapter 2, Small and Local Business Enterprise Program. EJ, please introduce that for us.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Before I introduce this item, I'm going to have Wendy O'Kelly, our Chief Financial Officer, present the item. I just want to say that this is the culmination of a great deal of work that was performed by Best and Krieger, most notably Joe Byrne, as well as Director Tommy Favai. He has made, I think, passionate arguments for the past several months, if not a year, about really recognizing veteran status within our service area and throughout California. As part of that effort, he's asked us to consider amending the administrative code, specifically in relation to Chapter 2, the Small and Local Business Enterprise Program, to include a veteran-owned business enterprises program. And so that's the item that we have here before you. It's important to note that in working with Joe Byrne, we've completed a draft of the amendments that would be needed for our administrative code. And both myself and Joe Byrne met with Director Tommy Favai to review that and get any questions. So with that, this would be an item that Director Tommy Favai would recommend. However, it's important to note that this also has the blessing of our legal counsel, as well as myself, who's been very engaged in this as far as the development goes. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to Wendy O'Kelly, our Chief Financial Officer.
Thank you, EJ. Good afternoon, Chair Houston, board members. Before we walk through the individual admin code amendments, the proposed amendments, I just want to provide an overview of what the proposal or the changes will ultimately accomplish. First, specifically, it's as EJ stated, formally introducing that veteran-owned business enterprise into the district's procurement incentive program. And then there's also an additional sub-tier of disabled veterans. So I'll go over that point structure and qualifications in subsequent slides. And then also just creating a clear, categorized incentives for each individual, small business, local business, and then also the veteran-owned business separately and independently of each other. Also in the small business enterprise program, there's some proposals to remove the self-verification aspect and just making them all equal where the district verifies once the vendor or the prime contractor submits their documents. And then finally, there's a proposed amendment related to reporting back to the board, where right now it reads as a requirement of 10% is our participation goal versus creating a goal and removing the word requirement. So in a downturn market or where we're not able to accomplish 10% as a requirement, it doesn't view as non-compliance. So we'll discuss that in some other slides as well. So the next slide. One more, two more. These were the proposed amendments I was talking about. And the next slide is going to be the definition of that veteran-owned business enterprise. And so a business will qualify as a veteran-owned business enterprise in one of two ways. And the first way is if they meet that SBA, Small Business Administration, veteran-owned small business certification standards. Also, additional way is if the business provides documentation or evidence that they are 51% owned and managed by a veteran of the United States military, naval, or air service. And then the qualification is verified through SBA for that first criterion. And the documentation, as I stated, for the second one would be provided by the actual vendor. So the approach here does rely on existing standards rather than creating a district-specific type of certification process. So we're using or utilizing the federal level, the state level, and some local agencies to help confirm the certification. And then also, this program does include a disabled veteran, and the qualifier there is a rating of greater than 10%. And that rating is determined by either the Department of Defense or the Department of Veterans Affairs. In the next slide, we'll talk about how the incentives will be applied and the structure. So as I stated, there's 4 different prime categories for our vendors, 3 different, excuse me, and they are the small business enterprise, the local business enterprise, and then now the proposed veteran-owned business enterprise. Whether it's under goods, professional services, or non-professional services, the point structure is independent. So just looking at the point structure for professional services and non-professional services, it would be 3 points that a proposal, a vendor, or prime contractor could earn for each individual category. So in that first tier, there's up to 9 points. Now, if there were a disabled veteran in addition to a veteran-owned business or any of the other 3, there's an additional 1 point. And again, that's that greater than 10% threshold. And then for subcontractors, again, looking at each one of those categories, small business, local, and veterans separately, there is an additional points that could be earned of 1 point for the sub, determining that the portion of the contract being presented is greater than 30% of the contract is going to one of the subs, then that point structure would apply or be applicable. The maximum or the cap of this entire structure is going to be up to 10 points. And then if we were looking at for the goods, the structure for goods, that same structure that I just described for the point system is the reduction in the proposal cost, but not the reduction in the contract itself. So basically the percentage and the evaluation of the proposal. So you would take up to a maximum of 10% based on the different qualifiers here in each category. And so I know that was a lot. I'll pause here if we have any questions on just maybe the incentive structure for the programs.
Yes, I'm so sorry, but all these acronyms, can you please tell us?
Yes.
SBE, LBE.
I apologize. Yes, SBE is Small Business Enterprise Program, which we already have established. And then the LBE is the Local Business Enterprise Program. And that's whether it's within the West Basin service area or 25 miles outside of the district headquarters.
BOP.
And the BOB is the one we're proposing or to add in, which is the Veterans Owned Business Enterprise, which also includes a section for disabled as well.
Let me ask Director Favalle, you had a question or comment?
Yeah. Question. Thank you, Wendy. The SBE, LBE, VOBE and sub. Now, when it comes to the subs, if the prime contractor doesn't meet, any of the different goals, would the sub make up for the prime not meeting those goals, or is that how it's calculated?
Yes, so, and they're all independent of one another.
Yeah.
So yes, to answer your question, if the prime was not a small business or a local business or veteran-owned business, they wouldn't earn the 3 points, but they could earn a 1 point if their sub was one of the.
Was one of the.
Yeah.
Okay. And then my second question, if I may, Director Houston. On the 10% of the compliance part, because I know we're gonna amend it to a goal instead of a requirement.
Right.
So when it comes to the goal, does that mean that all of these different certifications are meeting the goal? Each category will meet the goal of the participation.
What we're looking at is more of the aggregate. So when we look at the total expenditures for West Basin as a district, 10% of that volume of expenses should represent these categories, any of these 4 categories. So it doesn't necessarily impact it, just we're reporting back to the board this 10%. So right now the code reads as a 10% requirement. So if we didn't meet that requirement in just different circumstances, COVID or anything that were to take place, the requirement word reads as compliance or non-compliance versus the goal reads more as, in certain market situations, we're allowing for that as well.
Got it. And the goal is good for us because it doesn't bind us when it comes to like federal law requirements and stuff like that, right?
Correct. When we put the word requirement in our admin code, then we are required to accomplish that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Chair.
No problem. Thank you. Any other questions? Here?
No.
Director Gray, did you have any questions? At this time?
Just a few more slides.
Director Gray, you've been muted. In order to unmute yourself, you'll need to hit *6.
Appreciate it. Yes, I have to leave the meeting. I have no questions. Thank you. Bye-bye.
And Wendy, really quick, where on the, I know it's not in this slide deck, but where in the red line section are you changing that word required to goal like that? Do you know?
Yes, in
Well, I
a
see
couple of slides, I will get to that. It's in section
Looks like it's on page 56.
5. Yeah, it's section 5-2, 109.
Gotcha. Okay. I just want to see that. Yes, and I agree with that. I guess that was just something randomly we put in years ago. And so I just didn't think about it that way, but it does kind of tie our hands. In a day, we just want to, the goals. We don't want to oh, we didn't make our requirement. who are we in trouble with? Ourselves, I guess.
It's important to note that, to have a goal like that, it really requires, that places the onus on myself as well as the entire West Basin team to track these things.
Yeah.
I always talk about, the numbers may not fall in our favor as far as meeting the goal sometimes, but it's a great opportunity and tool to actually look and see, well, what did we do and why did we not achieve that? And then really shift our approach, whether it's marketing and advertising, whether it's different opportunities and social media even. How can we do a better job of reaching our communities? Because I think that within the diversity of the West Basin service area, if you're doing everything that you can, the numbers will ultimately lead to success. Just the law of averages. And so if we continue to do a good job, I think that the numbers will always be there. Now, whether we want to make specific decisions based off of one data point at one specific time, I don't know if that's the best approach. But looking at our goals, I feel very confident that the level of outreach that we're doing, we're going to achieve that.
The decision, okay. You have another one? Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment to what EJ mentioned. And I think, to your point is that, the tracking is going to be key, because it's going to validate the, on meeting these goals. And then I think it also, helps us as board of directors to understand, the tracking system that the West Basin staff is going to do. It kind of gives us like insight on the industry that's bidding on these projects, whether it's the professional services or non-professional services. It actually gives us the insight on the industry and how can we do it better or even better. So I think this is great. Moving forward, thank you, Wendy, for and staff for putting this together.
And I will add, Director Favai, to that point, we are teed up for August, maybe September, to report back to the board for fiscal year 25-26, the results of the small business and local business. And then in the next year, we'll do veterans as well.
Okay, you can go ahead, Wendy.
Sure.
Rest of the slide.
Thank you. So the next slide does summarize the remaining admin code proposed changes, which some of them we've already just discussed. So as I mentioned before, the small business enterprise, we are proposing to remove that self-certification provision, which was only noted in the small business enterprise section, not in the local business, and of course not in the veteran zone that we're proposing. So that keeps everything on a standard, consistent verification process. And it also helps us to look towards those federal, state, and other local county agencies for their certification process, as I mentioned, not developing our own criteria. And then the percentage reduction, and then also the point system that we had before for small business and local business, it more clearly defines and separates them, and has the points and the percentage operates independently of one another. So clearly defines a small business enterprise program separately from local, and then separately from veterans. So that is being replaced with the point system. And then on the next slide, another that we just discussed was the requirements to goals. And then the final proposed amendments are just updating the language and minor punctuation in sections 5-2, 103 to 113, and basically adding that acronym VOBE, or veteran-owned business, in places that's appropriate. And then the next slide, just again, giving you that overview, summarizing the programs and what each different program would recognize and the qualifiers for each designation. And here it just gives you what we currently are doing for small business and local business, and then also adding in that side by side for veteran-owned business as well.
Get a question, Wendy.
Yes.
When it comes to the qualifying criteria for each category, just as long one of them is met out of the different the things in one criteria.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
But that's good that it's it kind of broadens out to, to the different agencies, right?
It provides more options for them to be able to qualify, provide us documentation, review the documentation. Okay. Yes,
okay.
You're correct.
All right.
Any other questions? And the next slide, I will say I did have this posted online, and Director Favai did have a typographical error in your last name, but we were able to correct it for today's presentation. But when this is presented in the board meeting, we'll have all documents updated. Today's request is not for the adoption of the actual admin code amendments. It is merely for discussion. And then actually where the recommendation is giving us the direction to remove this, to move this into a formal resolution for board consideration. So with that, I can read the the committee the staff recommendation. Director Tommy Favai recommends amending Chapter 2 of the West Basin Municipal Water District Administrative Code to be inclusive of veteran-owned business enterprises. And then staff recommends that the Board of Directors consider the proposed amendments as presented in the attached red line document and direct staff to prepare a resolution reflecting the proposed administrative code changes.
Quick question.
Yes, go ahead.
Will the staff's recommendation be on our next board?
Yes, it would. So we're working now to finalize that draft of the resolution. So therefore, if the committee wanted to move this item, we would place it on the board agenda. It would note that, but it would still be on the action counter because of the resolution. So we would not be able to put this on consent, but we would include the resolution and we'd be ready to go next week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me ask a question too, really quick here. Obviously, if you go back to the chart that was earlier on the slides, I guess it was page
What the incident structure.
page 4. So if a person met all of these, they get 10 points, right?
Yes.
If they met every one of these. But obviously, some of them might be a veteran owned, but they're not located in our service area, right? They're not getting a local business extra points or what have you, right?
Correct.
So they have to hit all of these to hit the maximum.
And if you look at the point structure, there's a way to go over 10 points.
Uh-huh.
But the cap is at 10 points.
My other, one of the questions too, do other agencies do projects like this or similar policies like this that we're aware of?
As far as the incentive programs for extra points, yes.
For veterans or something like what you're adding.
Well, I think we've seen a couple I would say from the time of about November, when we started looking into this, we started to see that other agencies are incorporating veteran-owned, women-owned, minority-owned type of incentive programs. Yes.
And then I want to ask, because obviously legal counsel reviewed this, and EJ, you say that you're supportive of this.
Yes, we've made, I would say, and this goes to Wendy, her team, as well as our procurement team. We put forth a great deal of effort to really round out our approach to marketing, all of the approaches to doing business with West Basin. This is an extension of that. Obviously, West Basin Board of Directors have long been supportive of our veterans. So this falls in line with that policy. And so therefore, we're ready and willing to go out there and do the research and do the marketing to make sure that we're getting veterans in line with our programs.
Good. Let's see. So with that, I think, do you have any other comments or questions?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to Wendy and the staff, the procurement staff, for putting this together. I know it takes a lot of hours, to put something like this together, but I think the goal was to meet this moment that we're in right now, and to have these type of services in place and stuff. So thank you, EJ.
Any other comments, Director Gear?
No comments.
Okay. All right. So with that, I would recommend we move this forward as being requested, which I guess means, EJ, you all will prepare a resolution. Correct. For the board meeting. And it'll be on the action calendar, right?
That is correct.
So I'm in agreement with that. And Director Favai.
I concur.
Okay. Very good. And is that all you need at this time?
That is correct.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you. And thanks for all that work. Much appreciated. And thank you for Director Favai for bringing that forward. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you to the council, Joe Byrne.
Legal
He's not here, but we'll see him at the board meeting.
Okay, so with that, we'll move into the information calendar, item 6A, which is our monthly financial reports. EJ, please.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. For this presentation, we have Jose Flores, our senior accountant, and this item begins on back to page 59.
Thank you, EJ. Good afternoon, members of the committee and board. As stated, I'll be going over the monthly financial reports as required by West Basin's administrative code. Staff is required to submit various financial reports to the board to keep them apprised of the financial condition and future needs of the district. I'll now begin on packet page 61 for the demands list. This is our demands list for the period ending in June of 2026. The report ends on page 64. The total expenditures for the month was $20,392,574.62. Included in this total is our June Metropolitan bill, which includes a total of $12,573,277.53. This accounts for 62% of our total expenditures. Please let me know if there are any questions related to this report.
Okay, let's see. Director Levi, any questions? Or Director, do you have any questions?
No question.
I have none.
Okay. With that, I'll move on to packet page 66, and I'll be presenting our cash and investments report for the period ending June 2026. As you can see, our total market value for the month was $105.6 million. Part of the increase from May to June is due to the $3.2 million payment that we received from LADWP. As a friendly reminder, there is an upcoming bond payment that will significantly reduce this balance. The total bond payment is $17,333,425, and it will be paid this month in July. On the same page, you can see a pie chart that shows our portfolio diversity and the different investments that we carry on the right-hand side. On the following page, you'll see our credit quality distribution graphs. You can see here that 70% of our securities are rated AAA. On the next page, this page represents our maturity distribution. You can see here that the majority of our investments are highly liquid. And on packet page 69, you'll see security acquisitions and dispositions for the month of June. From packet pages 70 to 80, there's a detailed listing of all of our investment holdings. And that concludes the cash and investments report. Are there any questions?
No questions.
If there are no questions, we can move on to the monthly water sales report on page 81. For the month of June, potable water sales was 7,480 acre feet, which was 403 acre feet higher than budget and 113 acre feet lower than last year. I do want to highlight a couple of things. August through October and February through April, our potable water sales exceeded both the budget and last year's numbers for those same periods. The bottom portion shows imported barrier was 196 acre feet for June, of which Dominguez was 133 and West Coast was 63. On the next page, we have our recycled water sales for the month at 3,367, which was 266 higher than budget and 394 higher than last year. I also want to note on the same page, you can see that September and January through June, recycled water sales have also exceeded both budget and last year's numbers for those same periods. The table below shows the breakdown of our recycled water. Barrier was 1,095. Refineries were 1,833. And disinfected tertiary was 440. That concludes our water sales for the month. Are there any questions?
Jose.
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Please. I really want to take the opportunity to thank our engineering, our operations team, our board of directors, everybody that had a hand in all of the work to get us here. When I look at this graph, and I had the chance to see the presentation, review the materials before, we finalized the committee packet. I saw this and I saw the 6 months stacking up of not just exceeding obviously last year because we really crushed what we did last year, but even our budget. And I'll do the research, but I don't know that we've ever actually achieved and exceeded our annual budget of recycled waters because it's kind of a reach goal, if you will, as far as what's the maximum we could do. But to be this close after all of the issues that we had at the barrier with the shutdown, to be this close to budget and see those 6 months exceeding our budget, it's a tremendous amount of work. I happened to see this and review this while I was at Edward C. Little Water Recycling Facility. We had a team of people there, and I was really able to congratulate them because I think that this is a significant success story. And I anticipate and I'll work with the team to make sure that this continues into the next fiscal year. So I'm very excited about this past year, but looking forward to the future year. So.
Great, thank you very much, EJ, because I was going to ask a question, make a comment on some of that, but I was open to my colleagues first. Director Bavai, any thoughts, comments on the water sales report?
No. No question.
Or Director Gear?
Looks good.
And then I was just going to say, actually, if we go back one slide before this to the imported water, so yes, we are, hitting beyond budget, which is good for us. But what do you account for this, EJ? Do you have any thoughts or explanation as to why we've been selling more water than we anticipated?
So we have taken a very conservative approach as far as our conservation goes. You may recall that within our water storage allocation plan, we're still at stage 3. So we're pushing water use efficiency as far as we can. Right now, though you can see the national stories about the Colorado River and the State Water Project, Metropolitan Water District still does have a record amount and a very healthy amount of surplus water. So all of our reservoirs are full and very healthy, but we know how our water years go. And so I think that what you've seen is a bit of a rebound, but if you look at that total of 87,000, a little over 87,000 as far as the total potable sales, that falls in line to where we were. I think we projected a short time ago we're kind of expecting around 86 to 88,000. And so we kind of saw this coming, but I think we're still light years ahead of where we were even 5 years ago. And so I'm very pleased to see the work that's being done. And don't forget that every year is a little bit different because of the management of the groundwater basin as far as maximizing groundwater usage. And we are starting to see an uptick in groundwater usage. So we think our imported water sales will continue to decline, but it's great to see this. And just below this, as far as the imported water to the barrier, again, yes. Very, very pleased to see that because that's really the success story as far as our water recycling program. And to see that we're putting as little imported water as we are into the barrier, I think that is a trend that I'd like to see continue.
Very good. And then back to the recycled water slide. Because I agree too. Obviously, it's been great that we have been hitting new metrics, and we want to say thank you to our staff, of course, and our contract operators, everyone who's making these things happen. And I would also say that, I think we need to just stay the course. We've been budgeting fiscally conservatively. I think it's been rewarding for us. So that way, at least we're not anticipating greater sales with what we actually do. So I think this shows that. So even as we go into what may be a wet winter, I definitely would want to continue staying the course, as I just mentioned, in the next set of budget talks. That's kind of where I'm going to be at. And so I look forward to those discussions, but also thank you to staff. And then we can see too, how the operations are working. We're going to have a longer track record with Jacobs and all the other things happen in the facility. So in the next handful of months, it'll be good. Some data.
Agreed.
So with that, thank you. Sorry, Jose. We will continue. If you want to finish this out, please.
Thank you, EJ. Okay, with that, I'll move on to packet page 83. You'll see here the Director's Conference and Travel Expense Report through June 2026. Our annual budget is $75,000. Of that amount, we have expensed $24,517.03, leaving a remaining balance of $50,482.97. I want to make note that we received notice yesterday that we received an additional refund of $500 for Director Fava's Aqua registration. And because it was received after year end, it's not reflected on this report, but it will soon be reflected after the fact. On the following page, on page 84, we have our executive management and staff travel expense report through June 2026. We have an annual budget of $123,000. Of that total, we have expensed $115,625.81, leaving a remaining balance of $7,374.19. Please note, we have not yet closed all the expenditures, and there may be a change to the final amount for the executive management and staff travel expenses. Please let me know if there are questions though.
Any questions? You know, on these, and here's a question, I don't know the answer. So, you know, there might be some final numbers close out the fiscal year. Do you bring those back to the committee next month?
Is that something that we can do, right, Wendy?
I will be doing, July, I'm sorry, we're in July, in August. A final year report. So we do the quarterly, but that will be the full 12 months. And so I was talking with EJ yesterday about also bringing some of these numbers so we could see the final numbers.
That would be good. And not because I'm sitting here wanting to be a nitpicker or anything, but I think it'd be good we see the final closeout. And then I see obviously we've been really judicious on the travel happening. And I do know that we had authorized some extra funds for staff travel, and I fully support that. And what I wanted to say is, look, we've already approved the new budget. But and EJ, you're a guy that you're obviously wanting us to manage this. I don't want it to deter us from sending staff where they need to go.
Yes.
And you guys will make judicious decisions about who's going to go and where. But I'm just saying, I know costs are going up. It's a lot more expensive travel and hotels and all the things we have to do. And I'm going to watch my budget, and I know all the directors will. But I just want to say, please, EJ and staff, still be very judicious, but let our staff have opportunities to go when they need to go. And if we need to talk about the budget situation for that, let's please talk about it early. Because again, I want staff to have the opportunities at every level that makes sense. I don't want that to preclude us, even while we're watching our pennies. Totally get it. Okay. But I just want to put that out there because it's early in this process. A lot of the things we get to do are really important, and they're important to the agency, and they're important for professional development. So I want to make sure we stay ahead of that. So EJ, always feel free to come talk to me, at least, let alone the other directors.
Will do.
Okay.
And thank you for that.
You're welcome. So with that, thank you, staff, for all these great reports. I really appreciate it. Wendy, you mentioned it. We'll get what do you call it?
I do the quarterly financials. So we were able to do the third quarter. It generally takes about a month and a half outside of June 30th to be able to give you the full final unaudited numbers, which I expect to bring that back in August, latest September.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Sounds good to me. All right. So any questions from the committee?
No question.
Okay.
And Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
If you don't mind,
Go ahead.
one of the things that we've been doing in each of the committee meetings, we are in the process now of really throwing our interns into the deep end, getting them involved in the water industry and really teaching them about everything that we do here at West Basin Municipal Water District. And so I wanted to invite Wendy O'Kelly to introduce our interns.
Thank you, EJ. So we do have we're lucky to have two interns this this fiscal year in the finance department. And I'll let them do, and preparing you by saying this, a little tiny introduction for themselves. But we have Carlos Rivera and Jimena Galindo that have started with us a couple of weeks ago. They have immersed themselves into the department, and it's just they're one of the team now. They found their way through just a little training with AR processes, the AP, and just understanding payroll as well. And then also sitting with our senior accountant just to get a little taste of each financial aspect in the finance department. And so I'm just looking forward to seeing them grow, seeing them develop through this whole entire process in this year in their internship program. And with that, I will hand it over to Jimena, because she's the first there, to just give you a little bit about herself.
Good afternoon. My name is Jimena Galindo. I'm a rising senior at Cal Poly Pomona. I'm majoring in business administration with an emphasis in finance, real estate, and law. And I'm very excited to be here. So I'm grateful to the team and happy to be working alongside everyone. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Carlos Rivera. I recently graduated from Dominguez Hills down the street in May in accounting, and I've learned a lot so far in this past few weeks. I'm learning a lot of new things, I guess like going back and learning from classroom and learning in the actual job, the two different things, and some things are clicking, and it's just very exciting that I get to use like what I've learning in the classroom and in the workplace. So thank you guys for having me.
Well,
I'm sorry. There's also one more intern. There's Danielle.
Yes, I'm here. I don't want to put her on the spot yet because I know she's not ready to speak, but I'll just kind of give a brief intro on who our HR intern is. This is Sophie. She is through our partnership with South Bay WIB. She actually started at the same time as all of our other interns, so we do include her in everything that they do as well. I would like to give her kudos though. She is picking up very quickly. We typically don't give HR interns like full access to everything, but it has been stellar and just already organizing files, accessing information. I give her an assignment and she's done with them, I don't know, like 5 minutes. And sometimes I double check and I'm like, wow, how did you do that? So I would like to give her kudos. She will be here with us, I believe, until the end of August. So hopefully before then, I can go ahead and have her introduce herself. Thank you.
On that note, and Wendy, can you remind us real quick on our intern program, how long does it last? Is it 6 months or?
It's a year, right?
It's a year. See, I forget all the time.
But I will stress this, our job is to find every intern a job. And I'll be honest, I don't want to see any intern leave, but if I get them a job in 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, we're going to celebrate that. And that's not just me. We have supervisors and managers. Everybody's doing everything they can to make sure that our interns earn as much as they can while they're here. And then we get them those jobs.
Great. Very good. And then how many hours per week, or how is it structured?
I'm going to look to Danielle.
I can answer that, yeah. It's a minimum of 15 hours, but no more than 20 hours a week. We're very flexible with their schedule, so if they have to work a little less to, compensate for exams or projects, we're more than willing to do that.
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, EJ and others know I'm a huge proponent of our internship program. I think all board members are, of course. The fact that, it is, I'm sorry, I forget because I always remember there's work to it. The work is it's a year. It's not 6 months. It's a longer time frame. So I do know you give a lot of your time, you invest a lot of it to be here. And also knowing some of you travel quite a bit to come here. So thank you for being a part of it. I think you're going to learn a lot. Unfortunately, you don't get to see the board members as often as you're going to see the staff, but it's truly a team here. And it's an exciting industry. Water is very, very exciting. It doesn't matter what part you're in. So thank you to you all for being here and contributing to our agency, but also hopefully we can contribute to your professional lives and development. Anybody want to say anything else?
Yeah.
This is your chance.
Yeah, thank you to the staff and all the interns that are here. Soak it all in, all the good information that you'll learn here at West Basin. I come from the electrical industry, so water and electric you know, don't match. But, two major utilities in our industry. And it's very important. Yeah, learn as much as you can. We've got a great staff here under the direction of EJ, the general manager. So thank you.
Thank you. Director, do you want to say anything?
Just to the interns, I repeat the thoughts the other directors made, but I also want to mention that West Basin has a reputation for having a lot of its staff people, not just interns, but staff people go higher up in the industry, all through Southern California. For example, man who's running Metropolitan Water District. It is one of our former staff people. This is a stepping stone to higher things, and good luck. If you work hard, I'm sure you'll be very successful. Good luck.
Thank you. And thank you, my colleagues, for that. We don't always get a chance to recognize our folks, and so we take the opportunity. So with that, there is no closed session today. Director's comments or future agenda items. Does anybody have any future agenda items? Comments? Hey, hearing none. I just want to again say thank you to staff for all the good work, and also things we talked about for the upcoming meeting or two away. One of those topics. And with that, our next scheduled meeting will be on August 18th, 2026. You are adjourned.
Thank you, everyone.